they've tried in the past. They haven't succeeded. Twice in the past, you've gone inside Gaza Strip. The army's gone in once for 14 days, once for 19 days. An effort was made to eliminate Hamas. Each time, Hamas has appeared stronger. So what's that roadmap? How will you identify who's a Hamas terrorist if he's without his weapon?
Everything had changed since Saturday. Time after time in recent year, we were trying to contain because we didn't want to go into war. We didn't want to go into Gaza. We evacuated completely in 2005 in the hope of not returning there, in the hope of having peace and coexistence, in the hope that we will be able to live side by side, Israelis and Palestinians. We evacuated every single living Jew, even the dead. We dig them out of their graves and bury them in Israel so that they can have their own territory, their own autonomy. But unfortunately, time after time, they invested every single dime they had and every single amount of energy in more war and more violence and more hatred. And that we cannot accept. Every time we try to contain it, every time that rockets would be being sent every year, thousands of them, people who lost their life through all of these years. We did not want this war. We did not want to go back into Gaza. They forced us to do that because they have waged war and declared war, not on
Ms.
the
Haskel,
territory,
is
but
there a
on
time
the
frame?
values. There is no time frame. Same as
Is there a time
Al-Qaeda,
frame?
same as
Because
ISIS.
every
There
war,
was no.
the principles of war, an aim. There's an aim and there
There
is
were not
maintenance of
any
aim.
kind
So
of.
what's your aim and is there a time frame to achieve that target?
So there is no time frame. Same as same as the war on Al-Qaeda didn't have a time frame. Same as ISIS, the war on ISIS didn't have a time frame. We understand that the world is safer without these devil organizations, without these terrorists. We understand that our society is much safer without these organizations. And the world and society will be safer without Hamas. So there is no time frame until we defeat Hamas.
Ma'am, in India, we are victims of Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror represented by terrorist organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen. And these terrorists are, when you kill a terrorist, it's like pruning the branches or leaves of a terror tree with roots in Pakistan, funded by Pakistan Army and ISI. As far as Hamas or Hezbollah are concerned, even if you kill these terrorists, they're like leaves and branches of the terror tree. Where are the roots of this tree of terror that targets the people of Israel?
So the roots of this terror lays in Iran, that Iran is the head of the snake. Iran has proxies all around the world that is supporting and financing those terror organizations. Iran is fully controlling and financing Hamas. They're financing Hezbollah. They have their troops in Yemen, in Iraq, in Syria. They are the biggest instigator of terror and violence in the Middle East. And so they are the root of the problem. Now, we know that Iran is behind this vicious attack. They assisted in planning it, they financed it, and they even had troops on the ground. If you look on some of the social media that was spread when they celebrated these massacres, sometimes you hear these people speaking Farsi as well. Why would they be speaking in Gaza in Farsi? This is only because Iran is set on the ground as well. And so us, democratic countries, countries who believe in
Israel
liberty,
in a position,
and sanctity
is Israel
of life,
in a position, Ms. Haskel? Is Israel in a position, Ms. Haskel? Is Israel in a position to fight both the Hamas and the Hezbollah together, especially when there are protests against Israel happening almost across the Arab world?
Yes, absolutely. We can deal with two fronts. We can deal with any challenge that will come to us. And in that sense, the Israeli army has been preparing itself for years for a multi-front war. We understand that, we've been preparing for that, and we are ready to defend our people and our country, our nation. And I do want to take this opportunity to thank leaders from all around the world who said they will stand strong with Israel in defending our homeland.
In the information warfare, is Israel lacking behind? Because Hezbollah, the Hamas was able to send across that message that 500 civilians were killed in that hospital attack, blamed Israel for it. And has that delayed your ground operations? Has that put Israel on the back foot in this war against Hamas terror?
Well, look, these news are no news. Hamas is using time after time different propaganda and lies against Israel. I'm very, very surprised from different journalists who are taking their information from Hamas. This would be similar as taking information from Al Qaeda or from ISIS and using it as facts. And time after time that had happened, we know that the information coming from Hamas is completely false and is full propaganda. We know that. And time after time, they are using it as some kind of reliable source. Well, that is a lie. We have foolproof videos, satellite images, calls that we targeted between activists who prove that Islamic Jihad stand behind this attack on the hospital, that in fact, the Islamic Jihad have murdered those children they are talking about. And so this is an absolute absurd. But you know what? Time after time, there's anti-Semitism and racism towards Jews. Time after time, we are being blamed for everything. We were blamed for that. We were blamed for the corona. We were blamed for communism, blamed for capitalism. Anyone that hates Jews, okay? As long as it fits their narrative, they will adapt it no matter how many proof we will bring out to show that these are complete lies. And so the core of it, people who have the courage, not the courage, but the audacity of going out and celebrating those horrific acts. We see demonstration in the support of massacring a family, of raping young women. I mean, this is a war of radical people on the values that we believe in. This is pure racism. This is pure anti-Semitism. This is where it comes from. Our Jewish communities around the world are now hiding.
So are you saying whatever the cost, Israeli army will go into Gaza Strip? Will there be a time, in the next 48 hours, 72 hours, 1 week, do we have a time frame when the Israeli army will go in to decimate Hamas? Or will these be one intelligence-based operations, shallow raids, or standoff attacks from air and artillery to destroy their tunnels and their leadership? Ms. Haskel?
Well, Gaurav, was there a time frame on the war on Al Qaeda after the twin tower attacks, the 9/11 attacks? No. No one gave them a week or 2 weeks. They understood that they have to eliminate this terrorist organization. Now try to imagine the 9/11 attack. That was 3,000 people that were murdered. Now, if you take that into the scope of Israelis, of what we've experienced on our 7th of October, you will have more than 40,000 people dead at the 9/11 attack. Now, you tell me that kind of scope of an attack on the free world, on a democracy by radical Islam, what would happen then? Would the world put a time frame, a time limit on eliminating Al Qaeda? Never. And so please don't have a double standard. We have to defend our value. We have to defend our life. We need to bring back the security and safety of our people. If it happened once, it can happen again. And we will never let our citizens be so in danger as they were on that Saturday.